LEX 18 News.
An early morning crash has shaken law enforcement all across central Kentucky.
Everybody's stunned, shocked.
When a Nicholasville police officer was killed in the line of duty.
He loved his job, and he loved the officers he worked with, and we suffered a great loss today.
Tonight, we remember Officer Burke Rhoads.
LEX 18 News at 11 starts now.
Nicholasville officer Burke Rhoads was killed in a wreck just after 7 this morning in Garrett County at the intersection of US 27 and Rogers Road. Investigators say Rhoads was on his way to the Department of Criminal Justice training in Richmond. Police say as he was heading southbound on US 27 from his home in Jessamine County, the driver of a white car, 41-year-old Chastity Gordon, pulled out onto 27 from Rogers Road and her car clipped Officer Rhoads' cruiser. The police car spun into oncoming traffic and was hit by the driver of a black SUV. Officer Rhoads died at UK Hospital. State police say it was foggy on the road this morning and it is believed to have been a factor in the wreck. Good evening and thank you for joining us at 11. I'm Kevin Christopher. Nancy Cox is off tonight. It's a crash and a loss that has our local heroes' hearts aching. Grief-stricken police officers gave an honor escort to one of their own today as Officer Burke Rhoads' body was brought back to Nicholasville. That's where Hannah Mordeau joins us live at the Nicholasville Police Department.
Kevin, as this emotional day comes to an end, there are signs of sadness everywhere you look. Actually, here at the police department, there's a memorial of black and blue ribbon that marks the love of Officer Burke Rhoads and how he will be missed. That's the LEX 18 Big Story at 11.
We train as an honor guard for line of duty deaths, and we just pray that it's never one of ours. And today it was.
It's the greatest fear of the brave and blue, not losing their own life, but instead a fellow officer. This morning, the nightmare came true when 35-year-old Burke Rhoads was killed in the line of duty.
He's very missed. Very good guy, and we suffered a great loss today.
A loss felt across the community. Rhoads was a husband and a father of 3 young children. He was a military veteran and a member of the Nicholasville Police Department for nearly 8 years. So as people watched this hero be brought home, the pain was plain to see.
Their shock and sorrow reflected in how much they felt about him.
It was an accident. It's still hard to think he lost his life. No one else did, but he did.
Well, it's heartbreaking to know that it happens. I mean, not only to a police officer, but to anyone with a family and someone that helps out the community so much.
And help he did. Fellow officers say Rhoads was dedicated, consistent, and always played by the book. One of their favorite stories is when he went out of his way to change a broken headlight himself.
He just looked right at the sergeant. He said, "It's against the law to drive with one headlight." And that was just Burke's mindset. He could not hold himself to a different standard than he held the public.
Tonight, the public and Rhoads' peers are holding him in the highest regards. Different law enforcement agencies flooded to Nicholasville doing anything they can to help.
And saying, we'll take your calls, we'll roam your streets, we'll do whatever we need to do while you guys just hurt.
As the Nicholasville department begins to grieve, they have a simple request.
We're just asking the community to pray for Officer Rhoads' family, to pray for our department as we move through this.
We're told Betts and Wet's funeral home is handling the funeral arrangements. Until then, a police officer will watch over his body. Covering the news live in Jessamine County from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
Again, Officer Rhoads was a veteran who served in the military police. He was an officer in Nicholasville for almost 8 years, and we're told he was a member of the Honor Guard, to many fallen heroes himself. Condolences have been pouring in from across the state and beyond today, including more than 350 Facebook comments on a video of Officer Rhoads' procession through Nicholasville. They offered support for Rhoads' family, fellow officers, and everyone affected. Meanwhile, others are showing their support for Rhoads' family and friends by lighting blue bulbs outside their homes. The Facebook page Lights On for Officer Burke Rhoads is encouraging people to post the pictures of their blue lights. Nearly 1,000 people say they're participating. Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes shared her condolences, tweeting, "Rest in peace, Officer Burke Rhoads. My thoughts and prayers to his family, friends, and Nicholasville PD." Eastern Kentucky University Police sent out a message of their own. Deepest sympathies to the family, friends, and Nicholasville Police Department. Rest in peace, Officer Burke Rhoads. A recent Facebook post about the accident involving Officer Rhoads is being roundly criticized. So we reached out to the former lieutenant governor candidate, a cyclist of local repute, who wrote it, and she explained the meaning behind it. LEX18's Jessica Reyes continues our big story team coverage.
It's a post from former lieutenant governor candidate Cherokee Schill that's gotten a lot of heat. Schill posted a link to an article about Officer Rhoads' wreck, but it's the caption she wrote along with it that's upset and angered people who saw it.
When I first shared that post, all I saw was a news article stating that there had been a traffic collision. It didn't say that anybody had been injured or had died.
Schill goes on to explain she did not mean Officer Rhoads, the police department, or anyone else was deserving of such bad karma. She says her intent had a very different purpose.
I'm not happy by any means that anybody died, okay? But the reality is that we have a problem.
And she says that problem is speed. Schill, a cyclist who used to live in Jessamine County, is very familiar with US 27. And while she's aware speed hasn't been determined as a cause of the accident, she says it's always a factor and far too many people have died from it.
The family of 5, the motorcyclist, there's been several more collisions.
And when it comes to memorializing Officer Rhoads by turning on a blue porch light, Schill just hopes his life and legacy, along with the other victims, won't be forgotten once the lights go off.
Everybody's going to forget. They're going to go on their merry way. Somebody else is going to get killed, and it's going to be a whole nother tragedy all over again.
Covering the news, Jessica Reyes, LEX18 News.
In other news tonight, Lexington police say they've identified the man who shot a 9-year-old boy in the head this weekend, but he was already out of jail before they issued a warrant. They say 28-year-old Alberto Piñeras Contreras fired shots at a family's car near the Russell Cave Plaza Saturday. One bullet hit the boy in the head, and now he's fighting for his life. Contreras is wanted for assault. Police say they think he's driving a blue 2001 Kia Rio with Kentucky plate 855BDB. Police say Contreras was released from jail just this morning for failure to pay fines. They say they didn't connect him to the shooting until after he was released. Lexington's Bryan Station High School was on heightened alert after reports that a student brought a gun to school this morning. Lexington police joined the school's officers around 10 o'clock. We spotted 2 officers with guns drawn and a K-9 unit nearby as they searched for that student. The principal says while they didn't find him, they know who he is.
A day that began with clouds but finished for many of us with sunshine, and it turned into a terrific afternoon. Things have begun to dry out. That's good. Unfortunately, our drying time is going to be very brief. In fact, we take a look at our future track here. We're going to run it out all the way until, well, Sunday. We'll finish up your weekend. Between now and the end of the weekend, we're looking at another 1 to maybe 2.5, almost 3 inches of rain in some places. We have no place left to put that water. And so the problems that we saw yesterday with flooding could be rearing their head again as we head toward the latter part of the week and the first part of your weekend. We'll continue to track that possibility. Max Track Live Doppler now, not much going on. Temperatures are in the 40s and 50s. Look at 50 still in Lexington, 45 in London. Thing is, you look to the southeast, there's some pretty thick fog around London at this point, so visibilities are reduced. Most of the area is just clear, but again, southeast Kentucky, we had the rain today. Well, we had that fog to deal with. We are looking ahead to that rain arriving. We'll talk about when in a couple of minutes.
All right, Bill, thanks. Well, this week's heavy rain led to more than just flooding in Powell County. It caused a house to collapse. Take a look at the home on Redbird Drive in Clay City. 2 people were sleeping inside this morning when they heard what sounded like an earthquake. In reality, the rain had washed out the foundation and caused the house to slip off, which sent a tree stump right through the living room floor.
My 2 children actually slept in the living room last night on this end right here watching TV, and they were gone right up there at the top of the hill as far as they were gone when that happened. So if they'd been in there, they might have been killed.
The Red Cross is helping the family, but they're not sure where they'll go after that. In neighboring Estill County, the water situation continues to improve, but they remain under a boil water advisory. Emergency managers say the county is not in a critical water shortage anymore, but people are still being asked to conserve water. Anderson County officials are sharing details about a high water rescue they made over the weekend. It happened Saturday at Rice Crossing, an area off Rice Road which crosses the Salt River. The Anderson News shared these pictures from firefighters. They say 4 teens in a Jeep tried to drive through the floodwaters and got stuck. The locals say they're used to a little flooding, but deputies say the melting snow and rain caused the water to rise nearly 2 feet.
Yeah, I mean, that vehicle could have washed away, as I explained to the driver of the vehicle. That vehicle could have washed away, and we would have known for hours until their parents went looking for them where they were, and by that time it may have been too late.
Crews passed out safety vests and pulled the teens and then the Jeep to shore. No one was hurt. Search crews in western Kentucky continue to look for a man who went missing during the bad weather. 55-year-old Jeffrey Clary hasn't been seen since Saturday. The Henderson County Sheriff's Office says Clary told a friend he was on a road near the Ohio River and was hung up in the river bottoms. Now officials say that area is underwater due to river flooding. Louisville police made another disturbing find today, digging up more remains at a construction site. What they found coming up in a few minutes on LEX 18 News at 11.
We got an example today of what that March sun can do once it gets a chance to get going. Once it came out this afternoon north of I-64, temperatures jumped, and it turned into a great spring day, something we really need a bunch of. Unfortunately, it's going to be fairly short-lived. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on for the next 18 hours, and what we've got is temperatures falling down to around 40 at 8 a.m. A little fog for some, especially to the southeast. As we get you to lunchtime, clouds are thickening up. We'll be in the low 50s, close to 60 late tomorrow afternoon. Most of us just cloudy at that point. A few folks in the southeast may be picking up a little rain at that point. So the rain comes back as early as late tomorrow in the south, more likely tomorrow night across the entire area. We're also tracking temperatures that will stay mild through the weekend. There's at least some good news for you. Big St. Patrick's Day festival going on downtown Lexington this weekend. Really the first chance to get out and enjoy, and nature may have a different plan as we're looking at a lot more rain rather than the Irish rainbows around. Bottom line is it looks like it'll be fairly wet. Look what happened to the temperatures today. We were stuck in the 40s right until lunchtime. Then the sun started to make its appearance. We went up 4 degrees by 1 o'clock, up another 6 by 2 o'clock. Then we started to plateau in the mid-60s with sunshine late today. Oh, that sunshine was terrific. And there you can see it. Again, north of I-64 where the sun was out the longest. Middle and upper 60s today. That's 65 in Lexington. Frankfort hit 67. To the south where the clouds hung on, we finally cracked the 60 mark. But for a lot of us, we were right around 60 when the clouds holding temperatures down just a little. The moment we're looking at temperatures 40s to around 50, with Lexington, Jackson being the warm spot. Same with Springfield, right at 50. London, we've got some fog there at 45. You saw Monticello just update down to 39. Clear sky, light winds. Monticello usually be one of our colder spots around. And look at Flemingsburg's at 51 too. Max Track Live Doppler, not much to track for you here at 11:15. That'll change tomorrow. You watched the rain from today in southeast Kentucky, and that's why we're dealing with fog as well. Same situation that happened last night up here in the I-64 corridor. We've got the rain, though, further to the south this go-round. We got rid of that rain this afternoon. Here comes your next rainmaker. You notice it's not going that way. It's coming up this way. Bottom line for that is once it gets here, it's going to hang around for a little bit. High pressure is building in from Michigan. It's pushing the clouds to the south. You've got the cool front that is now down into North Carolina. So we get rid of it. As the high slides to the east, the clockwise rotation like that, what it does is going to pick up that low and lift it almost due north, right up the Mississippi River. So as we roll into the latter part of tomorrow, a spotty shower or two can't be ruled out, but really the rain does arrive tomorrow night into Friday morning. Let's take it through Friday, shall we? There is your rain. Could be quite a bit of it again as well, and this is going to be a slow mover. It's going to be until sometime late Saturday before it finally clears on out. So for tonight, fair to partly cloudy. There will be some fog around. Temperatures will be close to 40 for the overnight low. Your day tomorrow, sunshine early in the day. The clouds will be increasing. Could see a late day shower in the south, but that's a fairly small chance. We're up around 60, so enjoy the warmth. We look ahead there to Friday. Rain, should be quite a bit of it with temperatures in the upper 50s. There are the festivals for St. Patrick's Day going on in Lexington. We're in the low 60s, at least it's warm. That's out of here on Sunday. Monday looks warm, and there's a shot of cool air coming next week. Nothing all that unusual, but we're starting to kind of like the 60s.
Yeah, that sun feels good, and it's going to be dry next week, too.
And boy, do we need that.
Yeah, this break we needed, too. Thanks, Bill. Well, tonight in northern Kentucky, investigators are trying to identify a man's body that was found floating in a river and figure out how he got there. More LEX 18 News at 11 is next.
You're watching LEX 18 News at 11.
Here's an update about the skull found this week by construction workers in Louisville. Investigators say they found more remains in that area today. A crew digging a road for a Habitat for Humanity development in the Louisville neighborhood found the skull in the dirt on Monday. With weather on their side, we're told police combed the area again today and found more remains. It's unclear if they found another person's body or more of the original remains. State police are investigating the death of a man found floating near a dam in Gallatin County. The discovery was made this afternoon near the Markland Dam on the Ohio River. There's no word yet about the identity of that man or how he died. New at 11, a Pulaski County couple has pleaded guilty in the rape of 2 children. 69-year-old Robert Morris and his wife, 62-year-old Brenda Morris, were charged last September. Robert Morris was tried in January, but the jury couldn't reach a verdict. He pleaded guilty today to 6 counts of sex abuse, and Brenda Morris pleaded guilty to facilitation of rape. Their sentencing is set for May. After months of insisting he would stay on the job, Ferguson's police chief is stepping down. What he's calling a mutual separation is next, as we cover your world on LEX 18 News at 11. Covering your world on LEX 18 News at 11. More fallout following the Department of Justice's blistering report of the police department in Ferguson, Missouri. The police chief is out, marking 6 city officials now out of a job, and more could follow. NBC's Dan Scheneman has our report.
Ferguson Police Chief Tom Jackson is out.
The City of Ferguson and Police Chief Thomas Jackson have agreed to a mutual separation, which involves the police chief's resignation from the City of Ferguson.
The chief is the 6th city official to leave after a scathing report from the Department of Justice found a long-standing pattern of racial bias within the police department, with more emphasis placed on court revenue than on public safety. Jackson follows City Manager John Shaw out the door. The City Council approved a mutual separation agreement Tuesday, and Ronald Brockmeyer, the top judge who resigned after Missouri's Supreme Court ordered a higher-ranking judge to take over. The city fired its top clerk, and 2 police supervisors resigned, after the DOJ report linked them to racially charged emails. Serving as the city's police chief for 5 years, Jackson faced mounting criticism and calls for his resignation for the way he and his department handled events following the death of Michael Brown last August.
He felt that this was the best way forward, doing this obviously not only for the city, but also for the men and women who served under him in the police department.
Jackson will receive a year's salary and health benefits as part of his severance package. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
Kyle's in next with LEX 18 Sports.
The Cats are in Nashville. This was the scene earlier today around 5:30. Willie and Cal loading the bus, sneaking on in front of our camera there. UK will play either Florida or Alabama on Friday. The Gators and Tide will meet tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And today, more recognition for a few Cats. USA Today announced their All-Americans and Coach of the Year. Willie named a first-team All-American, Carl to the second team, and Cal named Coach of the Year. One of the things Cal and his assistants have been focused on lately is what teams are doing well against them.
I guess one thing that we've got to shore up a little bit maybe is ball screen defense, and because that's what teams are trying to do right now, and we're still good. Everybody got spoiled of what we did early in the year when you're holding teams to 26, 27, 28% as opposed to somebody shooting 42%. It's like the roof, fell in. So.
First round action from Nashville. Auburn upsets Mississippi State, and in progress, South Carolina is leading Missouri 59-51 late in the second half. Happy 22nd birthday to Anthony Davis, who would be a senior on this year's team if he was still in school. AD is averaging 24 points and 10 rebounds a game. He left Tuesday's game versus Denver for possible concussion, but everything checked out fine. The Pelicans off tonight. Davis is listed as day-to-day. Thursday will be pro day for the football Cats. Guys like Bud Dupree and Zadarius Smith will have another opportunity to show NFL scouts what they have to offer. And just an FYI, New England's Bill Belichick and Cincinnati's Marvin Lewis were at Louisville's Pro Day today, so they may be in Lexington tomorrow. We'll see. As for this year's team, we heard from Andy Boo, the outside linebackers coach for the first time today. Boo did not coach last season, but he spent that time studying the 3-4 defense. He's coached 4 down linemen his entire career and wanted to add another dimension. Boo says the turnaround at UK will be much easier than what he's been part of in the past, including at Stanford, Nevada.
I've been a part of a couple of big turnarounds, and I'll say this has all the, it has all the workings of that happening right now, so. Such as, going from 2 wins to 5 wins, that's big. The stadium renovation and the facility renovation, that's huge. The type of recruiting that Coach Stoops and his staff have done, prior to me being here, those are all positive signs that this team is, the trajectory of this team is going in the right direction.
History was made by a Batcat today. Kai Tom completed the 2nd cycle in program history, the first since Jeff Abbott. In 1994, Kentucky beat Cincinnati 9-1. The home opener for the softball Cats saw a good one with Eastern Kentucky. Christian Stokes' solo shot started the scoring 2-0, the final there. The high school wrestling state championships were tonight at the All-Tech Arena. Congrats to Lafayette's Angel Vasquez, who won the title in the 138 weight class. He was runner-up last year, and listen to this. He's a junior, so he has a chance to defend that title. And the girls' Sweet 16 tipped today in Bowling Green. Henderson County and Mayo will play each other on Friday after picking up wins today. In the later games, Holy Cross knocks out Bell County and future Wildcat Macy Morris, who had 17 points. Mercer County falls to E-Town 79-38. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
Some folks dealing with some fog as we go through the latter part of tonight. If you're out driving during the early morning hours, do be aware. Otherwise, tomorrow starts off in the upper 30s to around 40, close to 60 before the rain arrives.
All right. Thanks for watching The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon's next. Good night.